Alright guys, I'm back with my review of CZW's Cage of Death 14. This is CZW's biggest show of the year. It was only 15 bucks, so I figured what the hell, I'll order this one. I knew what the storylines were. I've been following the angles and stuff this year. I haven't been able to watch all the shows. I can't remember the last one I watched, but I did a video on it a few months ago. But I did know what the storylines were. I like the Cage of Death match, so I figured I'd check this one out. And I used WWN Live to watch the show, and I did that because I already have an account on that site and I didn't feel like setting up a new one with Hybrid ENT just to watch it. Plus everybody talks about how great the streams are on WWN Live with Dragon Gate and Evolve. So I went with that one, even though Hybrid ENT was giving away video on demand also for the same price. And I guess that was kind of an exclusive for CZW or something with that site, but WWN Live was simply the live show and the stream sucked shit. The show started late, which I was fine with. They had a packed house, so it started a little bit late. I didn't care about that, but I missed the entire first match, which was the Nation of Intoxication versus Four Loko. Nation of Intoxication wins, but what was happening with the stream was it was like a slideshow, like frame to frame with no audio, so I could see some of what was happening in pictures, and it looked like an awesome match. Like they had a scaffold. I think Chrissy Rivera took a bump off of it through a table or something. I don't know, but it looked really good. I heard it was good, so I'm kind of pissed off I missed that match. But what really bothered me was later on in the show, one of the technical people came into the chat room and said they are not giving away any free video on demand for the show. And he thought, or the company thought, that we only missed the entrances. We didn't actually miss the match. So they weren't going to do anything about this. And I was really pissed off. I just wanted my refund at that point. I was just going to quit the show altogether, but I changed my mind. I decided I'm just going to watch it. I can still do the review as long as I see all the other matches. And he said that they decided they would put the video on demand up for 72 hours of just the first match. We'll see if that happens. I don't even know if it will. If I can watch it, great. But yeah, so I missed the first match. I better get one of those juicy hot dogs sent to me for this crap. Then Larry Legend comes out. The audio started working here, but I still couldn't see anything. They did some Price is Right thing for him because he was on the Price is Right. And then the stream finally started working around Rich Swann versus Shane Strickland. So that match had started, and then the stream started working fine. It worked pretty good for the rest of the show. There was a couple times it lagged, but for the most part it was okay. So Swann versus Strickland. I thought this was a good match here. They had some really nasty kicks, but Swann throws a chair, Strickland catches it, and then Swann hits a Trouble in Paradise Van Daminator on him. Swann picks Strickland up for a package pile driver, drops him on a standing chair. Strickland kicks out. Swann hits the standing 450 for the win, and that was it. They shake hands after, but this was pretty good. I would kind of wish that this was the opener and this was the one I had to miss, because I was looking forward to the hardcore match with Nation of Intoxication versus Four Loko. But so then we get Kimberly and Drew Gulak versus Greg Excellent and his mom. This was terrible. Greg repeatedly runs Gulak's head into his crotch, and then they did this nasty ass spot where his mom's got Kimber and he's got Drew, and they reach into their tights and like rub their crotches and then put their hands and their faces. But to make it worse, afterwards Greg Excellent and his mom smell each other's hands. I mean, that was just disgusting. So Greg gets Kimber in the Gulak, and his mom gets Drew in one, and Kimber taps out. So Greg Excellent wins. Drew and Kimber leave, and then Colt Cabana comes out, and he says something about how Greg Excellent thinks he's the funniest guy in the Combat Zone, and he challenges Excellent to a match, but he's challenging his mother. And he says, you can either fight or fuck. And this was just really awkward and strange. So Greg says that he will take his mom's place and he will face Cabana at WrestleCon. This was just terrible all around, I thought. Adam Cole versus Sami Callihan in a Falls Count Anywhere CZW Rules match. They start the match brawling. So they're fighting on the outside. They throw some chairs, trash cans, and ladders into the ring. And this was a pretty good match here too. I like this. Sami just destroys Cole with a trash can. They go back and forth with the trash can. Callihan hits a running powerbomb on Cole into a ladder set up in the corner. Cole drops Sami on the ladder. They both keep working on this pile of chairs in the corner trying to set something up, and eventually it's 4 standing chairs, two chairs standing in the middle, and then 1 on top. And Sami hits a superplex on Cole off the top through this structure of chairs. Cole kicks out. And then Sami Callihan pulls out a bag of human shit. There's some angle where he's been trying to take a shit in the ring. I am not making this up. He's been trying... Sorry. I still got a bad cough from that cold. So, he pulls out a bag of human shit. It looked like dog food, but he dumps it out on top of a chair. And they do some spots where Cole is about to fall into the shit, and then Sami picks him up and drops him in the dookie. But Cole gets up and rolls Sami up in a small package for the win. This was so stupid and unnecessary. It was a good match except for the dookie. So New Jack comes out and he talks for a really long time. This was the first time I think New Jack's been in CZW since Cage of Death 5. But he puts over CZW. He says he's got a problem with Ruckus and Black G's, and he's going to kill them. That was the gist of it. We get Blackout versus Jake and Dave Christ for the #1 contendership to the tag titles. This match lasted all of 2 minutes, I think. They hit some dives, and then it broke down into a brawl. They were trying to make it look like a shoot fight. It was really stupid. I think Black G's touched Jake Christ's wife or something like that. I don't know what the hell was happening. The stream started lagging like crazy here too, and I couldn't tell what was going on. But they brought around, officials came out, Maven Bentley came out, and they tried to make it look real. But this was really just disappointing. This is your biggest show of the year, and you're going to have some crap like this on the show. So yeah, I didn't care for this at all, and this was a match people wanted to see, so it was really just a disappointing thing to see this happen. I mean, they could have done this at the end. But yeah, it started like 2 minutes into the match they did this. AR Fox versus a mystery opponent for the Wired TV title. It's going to be AR Fox versus himself. And then the Ego Robert Anthony comes back. And he faces AR Fox in a pretty good match here. I know a lot of people in the chat room were going crazy for this one. I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was like really amazing or anything, but it was a decent match. AR Fox hits those crazy dives, and so Robert Anthony is the heel in this match. He cuts a promo on the fans beforehand, and AR Fox wins with the low main pain. So that was it pretty much. Masada versus Drake Younger for the world title. Drake comes out looking like Sabu with the headgear on. And they took some crazy chair shots in this match, just a lot of chair spots in general. But Drake gets busted open. He takes a sick chair shot to the chest. And Masada takes this broken ass chair and just starts destroying Drake on top of it, hitting all these moves over and over. He hits a brain buster, but Drake's able to kick out. So he takes a chair and just cracks Drake over the head with it. It's still hanging on his neck, and he rolls him up in a small package with the chair still on him and gets the win here. So then Joe Gacy comes out with Christina Von Eerie and challenges Masada to a match. They start fighting. Christina holds Masada's leg, and Gacy gets him in a submission. Christina Von Eerie kisses him, and then stabs the skewers into the top of Masada's head, hits a tornado DDT on him, and then Gacy hits a pile driver kind of on him. It was really weak looking, but I guess they're going to go with Joe Gacy versus Masada now. Then we get intermission for them to set up the cage. There was no BJW match, which I was kind of disappointed about. I guess that's just something they do in Hybrid ENT or something like that. But yeah, I usually like to add the intermission matches into my reviews, but here we didn't get one. It was just them setting up the cage. So, Cage of Death match. DJ Hyde versus Matt Tremont. This was a pretty awesome match, I have to say. For a violent Cage of Death, these guys did a hell of a job here. The structure itself... Excuse me. I hate this cough. The structure itself had like 2 sides with a cage. The other 2 have barbed wire and panes of glass. And there were some structures on the outside, these platforms. One of them had 3 panes of glass stacked up with space in between. There was another one on the outside that had 2 standing chairs with a pane of glass on top and a barbed wire board under it. And then of course there were weapons in the cage, thumbtack bats, barbed wire chair, and then there was this tiny little platform on top of the cage. It was just really small, but of course that's where they did some the major bumps off of. And apparently Larry Legend is stepping down as announcer. I'm not really sure. That's what it sounded like to me. I couldn't understand what he was saying. The audio was really bad here, but it sounded like he was stepping down from being the announcer of CZW. So that sucks. But DJ Hyde comes out and fires him, I guess as a way to get some cheap heat. And I guess Larry Legend, he got that Price is Right money and he's getting the hell out of there. So badass pop for Tremont. DJ goes through the first pane of glass and he spears Tremont through another in an awesome spot. It looked really good. Hyde has the thumbtack bat, just destroys Tremont with it, hits him with the barbed wire chair, and DJ Hyde took some pretty sick bumps too with the weapons and everything. And he choke slams Tremont through the pane of glass into the barbed wire board on the outside. And this was really nasty because Tremont gets the barbed wire stuck into his skin as they're trying to like pull it out. It just looked really brutal. There was another spot where DJ Hyde is under a pane of glass with the chairs holding it up, and Tremont climbs to the top of the cage and hits a frog splash off the top through the pane of glass, but DJ Hyde kicks out. Both guys were just bleeding a lot here, but Tremont, his entire body was just torn up. He was bleeding all over the place. His back was just completely destroyed. Definitely some Tournament of Death stuff here with his back. And what the hell did I write here? So DJ picks him up and he just runs his body into another pane of glass, and then they climb to the top of the cage for the final spot. They both stand on this tiny little platform, and Tremont hits a Death Valley driver off the top of the cage through all 3 panes of glass, destroys the wooden platform. Both guys are just laying there. They're completely out of it. They crawl back into the ring, and Tremont covers DJ Hyde for the win. Thankfully, I'm glad Tremont went over here. I was afraid DJ Hyde would put himself over yet again, but it was Tremont going over here. They carry DJ Hyde out, and the roster comes out to celebrate with Tremont, and that was it. That was the end of the show. So overall, I didn't really care for this pay-per-view. I mean, the Cage of Death match was good. It sounded like the first match was good, but I didn't get to see it. And I liked Adam Cole versus Sami Callihan, except for the human feces. And what else? Drake Younger versus Masada was pretty good, but for the biggest show of the year, you expect a lot more than this. You have a tag match that just turns into a brawl 2 minutes in. You have Greg Excellent and his mother in a match, and just stupid shit like that. Robert Anthony versus AR Fox was a pretty good match. I was kind of hoping the mystery opponent would be Necro Butcher, but it was still a decent match. So anyways, that was CZW Cage of Death 14. I'm hoping I get to watch the first match, but we'll see what happens with that. So anyways, that's my review of this show. Hope you guys liked the video. Leave your thoughts on the show in the comments, and thanks for watching.